I was almost surprised to hear myself being so positive and encouraging because I think in the past I certainly would have been the person to be like, yeah, it sucks. There's no one out there. I totally get it. And instead I was being positive and optimistic. And I definitely think a lot of that is coming from the work we've been doing in the program.
Hi everyone. We're here with Tara and we're chatting about the Be the One Accelerator and hearing Tara's experience and really what she created in her life throughout this experience. So if you don't know, this is an 8-week group program to really create the mindset, confidence, and tools and really skill set to create a great relationship that lasts. So thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to chat. Do you mind just sharing a little bit more about your challenges and frustrations that you're experiencing in your dating life prior to joining?
Yeah, I feel like I've tried everything. I've tried all the apps. I even invested in a matchmaking service at one point, and I was just really frustrated and not feeling like I was meeting guys at like the quality and level that I hold myself to and that I was like looking for in a partner. And I was very negative, just feeling like there's no one out there. There's like the guy doesn't exist. Like this is never going to happen for me. And that's really, I think, what made me feel like I needed to do something to change it because I was just getting in this like very negative rut around dating.
And what inspired you to join the accelerator?
So I had seen Michelle's programs. I actually follow Dorchester Brewing and had seen that you had done a few events there. And in looking at that, I started following and just seeing, okay, like what's this about? Like what's going on? And I think what attracted me to it is that as opposed to like the matchmaking service I've done in the past, you're more focused on like changing like your mindset and yourself and not and like kind of not necessarily changing yourself, but like becoming more aware of your wants and needs. And I liked that I wasn't just like, okay, I'm gonna go on 3 dates and this is gonna work out great and I'll be done. And I've done that and it didn't work out. And having something that was more I think lasting change that I felt like I could probably get something out of it for any area of my life, regardless of how things worked out and like my own dating life during the program. But having kind of the more like the personal skills to keep moving forward in a more positive way.
I love that. And I love what you said about it transferring to other areas of life because I found that myself too. And I feel like it is a focus on dating, but really you can apply it to like your career, to
Mhm.
like any like limitation that you're currently going with as well. What were some of the breakthroughs or shifts or kind of like aha moments you had throughout the experience?
I think the biggest thing for me was truly the shifting of the mindset and understanding that what I can't control and what I can control. And I can't control how I feel about things and how I react to things and kind of turning like truly using like manifestation and visualization to like turn my negative thoughts into like, well, what do I want and what do I need to get to? That really resonated with me, along with just being more like present and not so much focused on the future, but like focused on the now.
I love that. And can you share a little bit more about the community piece of it and what it was like going through the experience with the group of women you're with?
I was definitely a little nervous at first about kind of getting on a call with total strangers and talking about my like dating life and my life. And instead, it became something I actually really looked forward to every week. The group of girls that were on it were really inspiring and just hearing like their different perspectives. And I really liked how a lot of times when we got different prompts and people would respond to things, like they would say something that didn't even cross my mind, but then I'd hear it and be like, oh yeah, that too. Like, yeah, I feel that, or I totally see where she's coming from. And it's actually been like a really great way to not feel so alone in what you're doing.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I feel like it's such a great group of women that like everyone has their own experience, but like you're saying, there's a lot of similarities as well. And I know before we press record, you shared a story about the dog park and meeting or having conversation with a guy there. Do you mind just sharing that just to kind of demonstrate like what the
Yes.
transformation is?
So I was visiting the dog park at my apartment complex, and a guy was just talking about his like frustrations with dating and how he's kind of given up, and he actually said he was like back in his bubble and he just wasn't going to try anymore. And as I was listening to myself respond to him, and I was being really positive and telling him things like, "Oh no, like, so, like all like this is gonna work out, and like it's about like what you're putting out there." I was almost surprised to hear myself being so positive and encouraging, because I think in the past I certainly would have been the person to be like, "Yeah, it sucks. There's no one out there. I totally get it." And instead, I was being positive and optimistic, and I definitely think a lot of that is coming from the work we've been doing in the program.
And say that someone's watching this and they're on the fence about joining. What would you say to them?
I would say that doing the program is a lot of self-reflection, and it's getting really keyed in on kind of what you want and where you are currently, and maybe a little bit of like why you're there too. And I found it to be really helpful, and it's going to be something that lasts, like regardless of where you end up dating in the short term and the long term. It's applicable to all areas of your life. And it really just, I feel like, has reset my mindset in a way where I am more positive and I am a lot more optimistic about where things are going to go. And sometimes you need the accountability and you need the tools of how to do that.
And I know that in one of our calls, only if you're open to sharing this, but I know in one of our calls, you had mentioned like when you did go on a date, you felt lighter when you were going on that date. Can you chat a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think that was kind of about halfway through the program. And I think going into that date, I like realized as I'd parked my car and I like, was walking in, I felt less pressure about the situation. And I think some of that was because I was like, if this doesn't work out, that's not going to be the worst thing in the world, because it might not work out because it might not be right for me or for him. And I think just going in without so much pressure and even so much like, okay, this isn't going to work right off the bat, it made the whole date a more positive experience.
I love that. I love that. Is there anything else that you want to share about the experience? Any shifts, any breakthroughs?
Um, well, I will share. I've kind of met someone now who this I thought was kind of crazy. I've met him. I've now spent a couple times with him, and I was going through our dream partner visualization that we had done. And I'm not saying he's the one, but there was an awful lot on the visualization that aligns with him. And it I said to one of my friends over the weekend, I'm like, if anything, this has given me confidence that like that man does exist somewhere. Maybe I haven't met him yet, and it might not be this guy, but like there are quality men, and I can find them if I hold out. Like I am gonna get what I want. I think that was like one of the biggest things that attracted me to the program. Is I think you said right off the bat, like this is not about settling. This is like attracting like the energy and the quality and the level that like you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so happy to hear that. First of all, and yeah, I feel like the there's so much negativity out there with like society, like just other people in the dating world that like you need to settle, especially once like you get to a certain stage or age or whatever. And
Hmm.
I believe, as we now know, or like, no, you can have exactly what you want. It just requires getting clear, healing anything that's blocking you, and then creating that opportunity. So I'm so happy to hear that. That's amazing. I know it is kind of funny, like going back through that exercise with different people you meet and seeing what aligns there. I think that's all I had. Would you, so I guess the last question would be, would you recommend the program? And if yes, to whom and why?
I would definitely recommend the program to anyone who feels either like myself, like super negative, or someone who feels like you want to date and you want to get out there, but maybe you just don't even know like how or how to approach it. Or I feel like a lot of people they have a few bad experiences, and then like the guy at the dog park, we just kind of clam up and we don't want to even try and don't want to bother. And I think if you need that sort of push to get like back mentally in the game, I think it would be a great program. And I know I've said this, but I also feel like I kind of viewed it as like therapy in a sense, where it is stuff that is applicable everywhere. And it's really just about working on yourself more than anything else.